How we doing, everyone? We're back with some more speed run action. As you can see in the title, attempt now to go sub 10 minutes. That is my aim, and it is achievable. I'm speaking after the attempts that you're about to see. A couple of weeks ago, you saw me get 15:36, which was a decent effort. To go much faster than that, personally at least, you need a lot of goes, you need a lot of attempts to get those luckier seeds, but you also need to execute it. So you are about to watch two different attempts from two different sessions in the same day, I believe. I'd say in total I had about 100 goes at this, but what I do is if the first round is a bit shit, I'll just start again, because if you can start on a good round, that's setting you up for success, because you need to do less work in the remaining 4 rounds. Anyway, here are the two attempts. The second one is slightly quicker than the first one. Will I be under 10 minutes? You'll have to find out. Over to future Tom. And off we go on our first round. Looks North American here, but we have French on the window of this shop, and that continues next door. We look around, and this is going to be a Canadian town, Vieux Saint Jean. Haven't heard of it, but feels like it could be a fairly sizable place in the French regions of Canada. When we get the street names here, Rue Mercier and Rue Saint Jacques, I have a quick look around, and then I believe I say something along the lines of, Let's try it. Let's give it a go. And I zoom in and I see it pretty damn straight away, albeit without the Sir Richelieu, which I've never heard of this place, as I say. Trying to find these two street names in the centre here. We can see that the centre is around here, and I've found Rue Saint Jacques, which runs from east to west. Where is Rue Mercier? It must be further to the west. And I see it on the map there, and I just go by the junction because I know I wasn't too far from that spot. Next round, and it looks a bit more European. And these signs could be of use. What do they say? Straight away, I've got the CZ for the Czech Republic and Pilsen. Pilsen, which is a fairly major city in the Czech Republic. And this is a tennis academy. So straight away, I'm thinking, can we find this tennis academy on the map? Pilzeni Kraj, it says, or Pilzensky. So I'm thinking to myself, can I go in? And I do go in. Not for good. I can still move around a bit more. There's Pilsen, spelt slightly differently in English. And obviously, a tennis academy could come up straight away from quite a big altitude. We need to look at the direction of the road here in a second. I'm presuming I do that quite soon, unless I've already checked it. But the road is sort of going northwest, isn't it? Checking the direction there. And I think I decide to carry on up this road for a bit to look for some more clues. But at the moment, I'm tempted by the map, looking for that tennis academy. It's very tempting, especially when we're going for such speed, to just get in there and just find it, because it does sometimes happen. Down here looks promising, because we've got a lot of greenery to our west hand side, which is the case. But I carry on to the end of the road. That was a waste of a few seconds. And really, it's hard to tell whether I'm wasting time here or not. But I get to a big junction, and I remember I just saw a signpost there. And we've got a sign for the Centrum, so that is useful. Centrum is to the northeast, so I've got to bear that in mind as I look on the map. We've got to be further west, really. So I check down here. This looks more promising. And there is the tennis club. Everything lined up. The park, the communist-looking housing estates over there, the housing blocks. Check out the junction, and we are done on the second round. Could have been quicker, but not too bad. Now, looks like we're in the arse end of nowhere here in America or Canada. Let's get this signpost, despite the poor image quality there, we can read N2360. And to the north of us, it's clear that we have a highway. And I jump over to it. Highway, freeway, whatever you would call this. It's a major route, isn't it? It's a dual carriageway in the middle of nowhere, so it's got to be a major road. Could even be an interstate. So we head east, and there it is. It's the 40. Heading east on the 40. And I already know that we're going to be in the Midwest. You know, Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, places like that. It's just about finding that 40, which I know I've seen before. And if I was playing more regularly, I'd know that it was down here in Oklahoma. The problem is it's a very big state, and we need more information. We need really a town. I check this van out temporarily, but that billboard over there has got a much better chance, although quite a low chance, but amazingly, Clinton. Exit 65 Clinton. Out in the middle of nowhere, you're more likely to get a clue from a sign like that. And amazingly, we see Clinton on the map right there. And we know that we will just be to the east of it. So I head back to the start. And I'm gambling a bit here. It may take a while to find this N2360. But this is the right course of action. The only course of action to do here, really, on a speed run. And I find it, again, quite surprisingly quick. And I know that we were on the junction. Again, could have been quicker there if I'd have just remembered how close we were to that junction, but only a few seconds lost. Another African one, is it? I say, dismayed. Getting a bit stressed here because it's just typical that you get harder rounds in the last two. That's just the way it goes when you're trying many, many attempts. We're clearly in an English-speaking African country such as Nigeria or Ghana. Boost your child's IQ is the dubious claim of that sign over there. And I'm flapping a bit. I'm thinking, first of all, I need a street name. I'd like to find out the city, but I'm going to need a street name first. So at the moment, I'm trying to find the country and the city, which is usually quite easy, but now I notice that there is, in fact, a street sign there. So I need to get into a position where I can actually read it first. And it seems to say Akintoye something else. The second word is, there's less need to remember it. So Akintoye, I know it runs from north to south. And now it's time to move on for bigger and better clues. We need to find out what city we're in, and we need to hope that it's not like Lagos or something, because that would be still very hard to find. We need it to be a smaller city, ideally. So moving around, still not entirely sure what country we're actually in at this point, but I'm not hopeful at this point. I remember not being too hopeful. I keep moving north up this road that runs parallel to Akintoye. And what have we got there? Higher ground assembly, that's nothing. This is a Maina road. And our next clue, Nigeria. Did it say Nigeria? I didn't see that, but maybe I've figured out that it's Nigeria at this point. Moving further north, lots of barbed wire on properties.
If it's Lagos, I'm a bit fucked.
If it's Lagos, I'm a bit fucked, I say. Which I did point out earlier. And here, in a moment, I believe we get the clue. But it does take too long, really. Takes too long for a sub 10-minute game. And I don't think I'm spoiling it too much when I tell you that this isn't a 10-minute game. But here we go. There's the clue, finally. Akintoye, and the city is Ikeja. Now, I've got to find it. I've seen it before, which gives me hope. But Ikeja...
Need to find it quick.
Need to find it quick indeed. Time is of the essence at this point. But I'm not seeing it.
I've seen it before.
And I think what I'm doing here is, as time goes on, I'm kind of surrendering to the fact that it probably is on the outskirts of Lagos, but I'm just checking everywhere before going into Lagos, and then I see it, and that's why I recognise it, because it's quite a bold. It's quite a prominent place on the map in Lagos. That's why I've had encounters with it before. And I decide that because of the north to south facing roads with lots of shops in them, I decide that that section there, this yellow section on the map, I do look around a little bit, but nothing really adds up.
Told you a Reagan existed.
Told you a Reagan existed. Yeah, who knew? Yeah, I have a little scan around for other areas, but ultimately I think I go back to that cluster because it just adds up, the tight packedness of it. And in a moment, we are going to see that all-important word. I don't know when that moment is. It can't be far off. There aren't too many roads to pick from in this area, but it's annoying when you have to zoom in, and I see it, Akintoya. You have to zoom in a bit sometimes, but I realise that we're on the bend as I go back to the start point. Again, no need to spend that much time.
Please be a good one.
Last one.
Oh, it's Britain.
It's Britain.
Yeah,
I'm
it.
delighted to
Lot of
see.
work.
However, this isn't going to be as easy as I had have liked.
Park Road.
Park Road is our road running from east to west. Loughborough and Rothley are to the north on a cycle route. So everything's seeming all right at the moment, but I am to get quite frustrated at some point during this game. Just not great information, and mix that with a bit of stress and panic, and it's not as quick as it should be, put it that way. Old 60s telephone exchange there, that's pretty cool. But basically I head up this road for ages,
This is old imagery, isn't it?
and I get to a primary school in a second, which, you know, they can often be helpful.
Ding Road.
Ding Road, that seems to say, but that's not right. It's Fielding Road. You're never going to get a Ding Road in Britain. Maybe there is one. The primary school here, I'm struggling to read the sign. It's Sherwood Community Primary School or something. Or no, it's Highcliffe. Sherwood Community Centre, but Highcliffe Primary School. So we've got some areas. Do I go into the map? Yes, I do. We've got some areas here, but I don't know where we are. Loughborough is to the north. Don't know where Rothley is. Momentarily, I'm confused by the Sherwood. Could that be near Nottingham, Sherwood Forest? But I get down eventually south of Loughborough, looking for potential places. Quorn. Don't know whether that's the vegetable substitute where that was made. But yeah, I'm looking for Highcliffe at this moment, I guess, but not finding it. And for a while, I'm just unsure what to do. In the end, I keep moving. Look, I keep moving because Leicester.
Come on, dickwad.
All right, Tom. Leicester, the city that's south of Loughborough, is very large, and I've got lost there before.
Loughborough and Rothley, wasn't it?
Loughborough and Rothley to the north. I've seen Rothley on the map, as I'm sure you guys have.
There's Rothley, you dick.
Oh no, I just noticed it at that point. That's quite bad. So I'm now looking at this area here, Birstall, as the most likely place that we are. But it's not guaranteed. We might be in the Thermiston to the east, if the cycle path, meanders around a bit. So it's this pressure that I get with playing the UK, getting a UK round and just being expected to, waltz it because of the fast times I have got on the UK map. But here we go. I've finally got to a pretty useful sign. Thermiston or Thurcaston kind of conflicts with the sign. Rothley and Wanlip. Yeah, so we've got to be in this Birstall place because Wanlip is to the north. But this is taking ages. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I get over here. I see Fielding Road, and it all comes to place, as it often does very quickly at the end. I go back again, wasting seconds. I've since realised, but there we go. That wasn't quick enough.
$13.22.
Yeah.
it's progress. It's definitely progress. But those last 2 rounds killed me. 4 minutes 30 and 3 minutes 32. 3:32 in Britain is quite painful. I was panicking. Time to go again though. I'm going to do them both in this video, guys. So the next attempt you see will be faster than that.
And off we go on the second game. And in this first round, I don't know what I was playing at. I had a stinker. It says, welcome to Hudson Square. And we've got skyscrapers. So you'd think first thought would be New York. And I think it was, to be fair. I just take my sweet time finding the actual spot. I don't think at this point I'd really had many New York rounds before. There's a tall building down there which looks like the Chrysler Building or the Empire State. Street names are Hudson and Houston Square. And more tall buildings down there. So I'm a bit disorientated. There's tall buildings in every direction. But Hudson Square seems to be the area, or just, the square, probably. So I'm looking around. I can't quite tell you exactly what I'm thinking, but I go into the map here. I think I might be a bit tired on this game. I'm already rubbing my eyes. And I think the problem is when you don't have the numbers. It really helps to have the numbers, doesn't it? So I'm looking at Hudson. I'm thinking Hudson. Are we near the Hudson River? Because we've got Hudson and Houston, I believe, were the street names. So I even have a look over in... Am I looking in Brooklyn there? I think I am. And then it's back over to... I'm even looking over on the other side of the Hudson. But eventually I get back over to Manhattan. And I don't know exactly what it is that does it. I think I just... Yeah, I think I find Hudson. There it is. I think I followed that down a fair bit. And I started to realise, well, maybe, most of the tall buildings are further south. Now I'm going north, but I think in a second I go even further south, towards the World Trade Center and whatnot. And we've got Hudson. Still haven't found Houston. I'm sure it's coming up fairly soon. It's not there. God, I didn't think it took this long. Yeah, there it is, West Houston Street. And I do get it eventually. But as you can see, I'm even tireder after that round. Now, straight away here, Floresdorf is what I see on this roundabout. And that, I think I have a wry smile because that's a very memorable place for me. I won't bore you with the story. Maybe I'll tell it you quickly another time. But I get the street names. I know it's on the outskirts of Vienna to the northeast. And I just need to find that roundabout, basically. I've got the street names. I was too busy chatting to notice them the second time round. But we're looking for a small roundabout, which is kind of facing northeast, southwest, pretty much. I remind myself of the street names, and it's got to be there, surely. And I confirm with the street name, Geoguessr. Third one, and straight away... first glance, I thought it was Russia or something, but no, it's just a shabbier part of the USA. I think I'm trying to find the street names here, and we've got them up here. McGowan is that one, and it says Houston, southeast, and Emancipation. So those are our two street names on this occasion. We can see some buildings poking out in the distance. So we're in the southeast area of Houston. And it's always great to get rounds like this. You don't have to think too much when it helps to have the numbers, as I said earlier. But Houston is a huge city, so not ideal. But I'm scanning the area quite near to the centre. And yeah, I think we've got to be closer, I realise. To East Downtown. Emancipation. We found McGowan. I've had a few of these where I haven't found them, so I did well to find them here. Emancipation and McGowan, and that's probably the quickest round of the lot on this occasion. Now, this is where things start to go a bit tits up. I realise that we're in Israel, and I'm not too pleased about it because They are hard, but more to the point, I haven't had much experience playing an Israel round when I'm not, well, when I am moving. So this is going to be hard, and I know it. I know it's going to be long. Um, the main reason is there isn't much English writing. I'm tempted by this map here. That's tempting me because maybe I can find that on the actual map. But I start to move. I start to realize that I'm going to have to move around if I've got any chance to get this round in a reasonable time. So down to a roundabout where we suss out the directions. It's you know, it's not bad. It could be worse in Israel, but we need to figure out what town we're in. And we need English. You know, I can't read Hebrew, believe it or not. So that is not going to help me. We need English or Latin script at the very least. So I'm reading that. There we go. I can't quite read that. So I'm getting frustrated trying to get another view of it. But it was something like Basmakart or Basmart. So moving west now and just hoping that we can find out with a little backspace there. No, not much good. Find out what city we're in or town. And here we go. Binyamina 653. Binyamina East. So that is a good sign. But it is still going to take me longer than it should, this one. 653. I think Verity actually walked in the room there and kind of distracted me by no fault of her own. And that will damage my concentration in the last two rounds. The anticipation of her walking in the room again. But I'm looking for Binyamina. And it looks arid. But I'm wrong in thinking that it's further south than Jerusalem. I'm wrong there. This is the lack of practice coming in. Binyamina again. I realise here this is all we're going to get. You know, I'm probably not going to get any other information, and I don't really need to look for it. Yeah, Binyamina once more. In the end, I think I just give up, and I've got to find this on the map. There's no two ways about it. I've got to find Binyamina, because it's got to be a fairly big place, judging by, you know, what I've seen. Haven't seen any signs for anywhere else. And I think not too far from now I do find it. I think. Might take a little while. It's further south to Haifa, I believe. But I'm confident that And there it is. I found it. Binyamina. Doesn't say east, but it's Binyamina all the same. So in a second, I'm going to go back to the start. There I go. May as well. And just try and get all these little roundabouts and roads to line up is what I need to do. It'd be useful to see what happens to this road. So it bends round the back of those flats. And then straight on as well, I'd like to see. Because at the moment, nothing's really jumping out of me on the map. Just need all the information that I can get. Paint a map in my head before we find it on the actual map. So here's a roundabout. The most northerly road heading slightly to the left, and I think we found it here. I'm pretty sure of it. Everything's adding up perfectly, so I was confident enough to click there. Now, last round, as you can probably tell by the time, this is also going to be, well, it's going to be tight, isn't it? But this, I can reveal, well, you can tell it's not going to be a quick one. We're in the middle of nowhere. And I struggle again, you know, with the mounting pressure. But we do get our first clue here on the left. Pulfrey's Glen, State Natural Area. So that's something. You need these signs when you're in these remote American places or Canadian. And that Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources was definitely worth getting a closer look for. So we know we're in Wisconsin, and we know there's a place called Pulfrey's Glen, but we need more information. some distracting signs there, but we need to keep moving. We need a road name and we need a city name, because Pulfrey's Glen natural area is not going to be easy to find on the map if it's small. So getting up to our first junction, and we can take some road names. And there's quite a lot going on there. A few different places. So I don't take much notice of that sign down there. That's not going to help us. It's this one we want. Bluff and Country, I think, are the road names. But it's that big sign on the left that I'm interested in. Baraboo, Devil's Lake. And in a moment, if my memory serves, I get a big stroke of luck. And I actually find Baraboo. There it is. I found it. I'm not entirely sure how I did that, to be honest. Did I use a road? The 12 or the 17? Not sure. But I found Baraboo. But that's not where we are. We will be somewhere nearby. And this is where it starts to get a bit fiddly. No clues there at the schoolhouse. We need to... Yeah, I mean, if we can't find Country, Highway or Bluff, we need to basically use all the things that are on that big sign, which can be quite confusing. I don't know if any of you agree. It can be quite overwhelming when you have multiple things on a sign. But I've found Devil's Lake. That's another thing that I've found. But I believe I forgot about the original Pulfrey's Glen. At some point I will remember that. So I head back to the start. I actually think I might have forgotten what it was called. Don't come in. That was me shouting over to Verity in the next room not to come in. She wasn't planning on coming in, but it was just distracting me, the thought that she would. Pulfrey's Glen, so I've stupidly forgot the name of that. I could have stayed where I was otherwise. So now I'm searching for that, because the rest of it I couldn't make heads or tails of. So there's Devil's Lake. We know we can't be too far, and there we are. We're to the east of Devil's Lake. And from this point on, I don't think it takes me too long, because we know we're near the entrance to it. We don't have the other little road, but we are just about within range. Okay. We are recording. I don't think that's less than 10 minutes, but let's have a look. No. 11 minutes 59. Thanks to two fairly slow ones at the end there. Yeah, we were literally on about 4 minutes 15 with 2 rounds to go. So you can tell that 10 minutes is possible. In the end, 4 minutes 13 in Israel wasn't very good. I was distracted, but that's no excuse. Number 5, 3:31. I mean, yeah, I got a bit distracted. I could have been more focused. So yeah, I think the bottom line is sub 10 is on its way, and it's up next. Maybe not next video, almost definitely not next video, but coming soon. I think it's safe to say. But either way, I hope you're enjoying the journey to get there, and this different system of me, narrating my thoughts over the top of the game. It's the only way I can do it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little episode, and stay tuned for more. Let me know in the comments what else you might want to see Geoguessr wise as this little quest draws to a close. Thank you and good night, and like the video too. Thanks.